Joining us right now, former Illinois Governor Rod Blagojevich. We mentioned at the top of the show he would be joining us. You are a Democrat. You were sentenced to 14 years for what some would say were trumped up charges. I guess you really can say that, and it means something else now. But then President Trump commuted your sentence back in, what was it, 2020?
It was in 2020, February 18th.
You'll never forget that day.
That's right.
What similarities are there between what happened to you and what's happening to the 45th president of the United States?
Well, first of all, this is a dark day for America. The idea that you would arrest any citizen but a president of the United States for things that aren't crimes. The similarities is I went to prison for things that aren't crimes, things that are political. The so-called sale of the Senate, which I'm known for, was reversed by the appellate court. It was never a crime. They could never uphold the unlawful standard they used to convict me. But what they are doing to a Republican president at the major league level, they did to a Democratic governor at the AAA level. And I do believe that it was a test case, my case, that these uncontrolled, weaponized prosecutors would go after high-ranking political figures who they can't beat in elections or don't want to win elections and upset and overturn our democracy, because that's what this is. This is a very dangerous thing for our freedoms, for our republic, for our democracy.
I heard you in a previous interview talking about this. Do you think it's as big as war? I mean, do you think that this means war in politics and for our nation in terms of the culture shift that we've been seeing over the past few years?
Yeah, these things don't happen overnight. They're gradual. And again, they did it to me, a Democrat governor. Those are Republican prosecutors with a Republican judge. I thought I'd get a fair trial. They couldn't convict me at a first trial on their fake charges. So they tried me a second time and used the standard the United States Supreme Court expressly said was not the law. It was shocking to me that this could happen in America. And then because I fought back, I never took a penny. No one ever said I did. They gave me 14 years in prison to bury me and with it the truth. Put me in a higher security prison where there were murderers for the first 32 months that I served. But yes, this is getting worse and worse. And now the Democrat prosecutor in Manhattan, one thing you can say about this guy is he keeps his campaign promises, because he ran out of promise to indict Trump before he even had any evidence to think that there were crimes. And there aren't any crimes here. But what he's also doing is, while he's keeping his campaign promises, he's betraying his duty, his oath of office, to protect the rule of law and the Constitution. And the real problem is, this is the kind of stuff they do in Russia, the kind of stuff they do in the former Soviet Union. This is KGB police state style politics.
But what about people who would say that it's a narrative that's being pushed? You know, I was listening to the Reverend Al Sharpton, and we know his politics, but he was saying that this DA, Alvin Bragg, is a Sunday school teacher, that he could have prosecuted Trump long before now, but he chose not to, that he's a level-headed man. Are we hearing things, whether it's from the media or from, just hype, political hype, that are causing us to think there's some sort of a controversy here when there's not?
No, first of all, I have high regard for Reverend Sharpton. I'm grateful to him because he was on a letter urging Trump to commute my sentence, which he did. I had bipartisan support. Reverend Jesse Jackson, who's a friend. I'm a Democrat, but I'm an American first, and this is bad for our country. We shouldn't weaponize the prosecutor's power to go after any political figure unless you got real corruption. And this is not real corruption. The problem now is it's so hyper-partisan and political that Reverend Sharpton and Democrats and others are all over this. The other problem is that if Trump gets elected president, I hope the Republicans don't do this to Democrats. But this is the new politics, and this will destroy our freedoms. This will destroy our democracy. This is not what this American system was supposed to be about.
What should Americans, everyday people who are never going to run for political office, but they are voters, what should they care about the most when it comes to a case like this?
That justice is done, and that prosecutors do their jobs. And the job of a prosecutor is not to get somebody. The job of a prosecutor is to do justice. And when a prosecutor sees that someone didn't do it, leave them alone and exonerate them. Now, we have a broken and a racist criminal justice system. Now we have a broken, racist, and weaponized criminal justice system. And as we remember Dr. King on the day that he was assassinated and the sorts of things that he stood for, this is taken it to a whole new level. And we have a lot of work to do, I think, to reform the criminal justice system and hold these uncontrolled, weaponized prosecutors accountable for things that I believe are criminal, and that is framing political leaders and throwing them in jail like they did to me, because I didn't break the law.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.